This is part 2 of looking at each personality type and their greatest strength and weakness. I'm looking at how each type's strengths and weaknesses correlate to the cognitive functions that they have. Last week I looked at the extroverts, so this week I'm focusing on the introverts. I will start with the sensors. ISFJs are grounded but imaginative. Their dominant SI will help them to stay grounded in the real world, and their secondary FE works alongside SI to give them an imaginative side, where they envisage what life could be like with no suffering or people struggling. They are able to float off in their imagination, but still remain attentive to the real world at the same time, which is a big strength, something I as an INFJ can struggle with sometimes. However, they can be too nostalgic, which is definitely linked in with their SI as well, believing that things were better in the past, and the new changes that have happened have made the world worse, not better. In order to be less nostalgic, or to be able to appreciate it healthily, ISFJs will need to use their inferior NE a bit more to appreciate change and to realise that sometimes new ideas can improve old traditions, making them work better than they ever did before. Being nostalgic isn't always a bad thing, but it can interfere with a person moving forwards in life because they fear that they will never achieve what people used to have, as life just isn't as good as it used to be. So it is important to maintain a balance between appreciating the old, but also allowing new ideas to make their mark too, as these have the potential to become new traditions as well. ISTJs are practical and grounded. As with ISFJs, their dominant SI will help to keep them grounded in the real world, and their secondary TE will give them their practical side to help them stay very logical. They are able to use these functions to take concepts and ideas and turn them into a practical reality. They can pull on their past knowledge of how things work to come up with a way to turn this idea into a reality. However, ISTJs can be closed to new and novel ideas, which is because of their inferior NE. They will always naturally turn towards traditions and things that have worked well in the past, because their SI is dominant. But by utilising their NE alongside their SI, they can form a balance and stick to traditions where it is the most logical thing to do, but also be able to know when a new idea may be a better fit than anything they have done previously. Yes, there won't be factual proof that a new idea works, but all the best inventions came from novel ideas that hadn't been tried and tested before, so new isn't always bad. ISFPs are unique and free-spirited. Their dominant FI helps them to be their authentic selves, which makes them unique as they won't always follow the crowd. They are comfortable choosing their own path if it enables them to remain true to themselves. Their free-spirited nature comes from them having secondary SE, which is fun-loving and light-hearted, and combined with their FI can make them a great person to be around. However, ISFPs can come across as unpredictable and hard to get close to. Again, SE is responsible for the unpredictability, as it likes to live in the moment and take life as it comes, and leave worrying about repercussions and consequences to a later date. SE isn't that great at planning, so personality types with high SE can come across as unpredictable because they haven't decided themselves what to do, so others won't know either. Also, being hard to get close to may be a value thing due to the dominant FI. They may value keeping things to themselves, so it can be difficult to get to know. Also, their SE will keep them light-hearted, so the ISFP's depth may be kept hidden from others. By working on their tertiary NI, which brings depth and planning, they can become less flighty and have a more defined idea of what they are going to do and when. And their inferior TE can help them to share themselves more with others, as it is a tribe-focused cognitive function. TE wants what's best and most effective for the tribe, and NI loves planning and organising. So by working on these areas of your personality, people will be more able to get close to you and plan exciting activities with you as well. ISTPs use their dominant TI to understand how to fix things. TI loves problem solving, and because it is an ISTP's dominant function, it makes them brilliant at figuring out issues and coming up with solutions. Couple this with their secondary SE, and they are willing to just dive in and take risks, trying out ideas to come up with the best solutions possible. However, they can have a hard time understanding and processing their emotions. TI is great, but it does often lead to thinking through and working out emotions with logic, rather than feeling them and dealing with them in a healthy way. Having inferior FE means ISTPs will find it difficult to be faced with other people's emotions as well, and they may become overwhelmed, because emotions are almost like a problem that can't be solved, a code they can't crack. The best thing they can do is to accept their emotions and feelings aren't something that need to be solved. They come and go like waves, and the best thing you can do is to identify what you are feeling first. Allow yourself time to feel it, and then move forward and work through whatever it is you need to. To improve FE, try writing down your feelings or saying them out loud to someone else, or just to yourself. FE is an extroverted function, so you need to get your feelings out into the environment in order to understand them better. If you don't want to share them with anyone else, just write them down. You can't work through them logically. There is no logical explanation for emotions. They are just there, and they want to be heard. So you need to listen to them. Then they will quieten down and allow you to carry on with whatever you were doing before. Now on to the intuitives. Now this post says INFJs are reflexive. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. It's a strange word to use to describe someone, but I'm going to pick something different that I can understand and discuss. INFJs are future-focused and goal-oriented. This is because they have dominant NI, which is always firing ahead into the future to see how things will pan out, looking for any potential pitfalls along the way. NI is also very goal-oriented and needs to see progress. I think both FE and TI like to get involved in goals, so the INFJ will have personal goals about things they want to achieve themselves, which uses their TI, but they will also have goals about how they want to make a difference in other people's lives, which uses their FE. But an INFJ's kryptonite is that they are perfectionists. They have so many wonderful goals to achieve, and they can see them pan out into the future in front of them, but this perfectionistic nature of theirs can stop them before they even take that first step to turning it into a reality. Yes, it is nice to get things done right and to do them well, but when it affects you so much that you don't even bother starting in the first place on any of your wonderful ideas, then something needs to change. The best way to do this is to use a bit of an inferior SE. Just take that leap of faith, force yourself to stay in the moment and worry about the consequences later. Because INFJs are so well planned out, the likelihood of anything major happening without them noticing is extremely remote. So we just need to learn to trust in our own abilities and to take that first step. It's kind of like what I did with these videos. I don't know everything about personalities. I don't know where this is going to end up. All I know is that I want to help people learn more about themselves and others. I don't even know how exactly to do that. I hope these videos work. I just need to trust in my abilities now and to take that leap of faith, hoping people will find them helpful and to let me know what else they want me to talk about. It helps to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? For my videos, it will be having no views. Okay, then I would just delete the videos and try a different approach. That may be sad, but it wouldn't really be the end of the world. And people are watching. They are subscribing, so I must be doing something good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. If I mess up or say something that is actually incorrect, then I can go back and change it at a later date. It really isn't that bad. We just need to learn to take that first step. INTJs are very strategic. They use their dominant NI to see the potential future consequences and to plan accordingly. Their secondary TE also comes in handy, as it is able to make logical sense of the predicted outcomes that NI gives, and it can help to make decisions based on what they have predicted. This helps them to be quite self-sufficient when it comes to thinking up new ideas and deciding where they will work in a business setting, or anywhere else for that matter. They don't always need a team of people to bounce off of. They can sit quietly and figure out things by themselves. However, INTJs can come across as insensitive if they are not careful. Like their ENTJ counterpart, their TE can come across as brash and to the point, and because NI does all of its work in its head, other people can often be left out of the loop where an INTJ is figuring things out, and they only hear the final answer, which can often be cold and logical, and therefore come across as insensitive. To overcome this, try balancing TE with FI, and to think about how things are phrased. Instead of just giving the final answer, try to explain why and how you came up with the answer, and bring people onto your thought train a bit, so they can identify with your reasons and then understand why you've come to that conclusion. Yes, it may be more efficient to just say the solution and move forwards, but being able to relate to people in a way that gets them on your side is more efficient in the long run, because they will stand up for your ideas and believe in you. INFPs are authentic and have an active imagination. The dominant FI values authenticity extremely highly. They will feel wrong and out of balance if they aren't being authentic. And their secondary NE is very creative and gives them a wonderful imagination. The two together can give the INFP a vision for their lives, where they will be fulfilled and happy in all facets of their lives. However, INFPs can be unhealthily idealistic if they aren't careful. Their FI wants them to be true to themselves, and their NE will come up with hundreds of possibilities for how they can achieve this, but without the balance of keeping their feet on the ground with their SI, and the logic and practical side of their inferior TE, they can be stuck in an idealized perception of reality, not actually living it out for real. Try to pull on logic and rationally assess how this wonderful idea will pan out for real. Is it actually feasible with where you're at in life? Do you have enough money, time, resources, etc. to fulfill this idea? Will it actually make you happy, or will it bring along more stress with it? By asking questions like these, it may seem like it bursts your bubble, but in reality it can save a lot of heartache and stress when the ideas don't pan out the way you thought they would in reality. INTPs have dominant TI, which genuinely loves knowledge and learning. TI is always hungry to learn more about how things work, the reasons behind why things are done in a certain way, and how these things can be improved. The desire for knowledge makes INTPs in general one of the smartest personality types. Their secondary NE works alongside this, providing more potential ideas about how things could be done differently and potentially better, ensuring the INTP never gets stagnant and feels like they know everything there is to know. However, their inferior FE can lead them to have poor people skills. TI is an introverted function, so the desire for learning is for themselves, and FE is an extroverted function, but because it is last, it means that the INTP is more focused on doing things for themselves than for other people. This is not a bad thing, because they are a wealth of information, but it can mean that when a person comes to them with an issue, if the INTP doesn't deem that person to be important or part of their circle, then they won't share their wealth of knowledge with them. People close to the INTP are able to partake in this knowledge, but everyone else is just not seen as important. By looking at your wealth of knowledge and desire to learn as a gift, it will be easier to give to others. You don't lose anything by helping other people out a little bit. In fact, they will probably look up to you even more. Sure, you don't have to help everyone, but by coming alongside and understanding where the other person is coming from, using that FE empathy muscle, you can use your gift to help others as well as for your own enjoyment, which would be a win-win in my book. As I said in my previous video, the points are not exclusively for the types that I've mentioned. Any type, for example with NE, third or fourth, will be able to relate to some of the points for both ISFJs and ISTJs, for example. Even types that don't have NE in their top 4 functions, like INFJs, can learn from this too. I hope you found this mini-series interesting, and maybe learned something new. Don't forget that each type is very important. We were all given the personalities we have for a reason, and we complement each other very well. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about in the comments below. I do enjoy coming up with different topic ideas each week, but ultimately I want to help you understand personalities better, so please let me know if you have any requests. Thank you for your time.